Hi, it's Patrick Hutzel from IntensiveCareHotline.com, where we instantly improve the lives for families of critically ill patients in intensive care so that you can make informed decisions, have peace of mind, real power, real control, and so that you can influence decision making fast, even if you're not a doctor or a nurse in intensive care. This is another episode of Your Questions Answered, and in last week's episode I answered another question from one of our readers, and the question last week was: my 23-year-old son has an acquired brain injury. He's now in a subacute facility with a tracheostomy, and we want our son at home. What are our options? You can check out the answer to last week's question by clicking on the link below this video. In this week's episode of Your Questions Answered, I want to answer another question from one of our readers, and the question this week is: my 79-year-old sister has had seizures and is now in intensive care. She's not waking up and she's having a tracheostomy. Can she improve? This question from Tam is an excerpt from a one-on-one phone counseling and consulting session with me. Tam describes her sister's situation as follows. Hi Patrick, my sister had seizures 2 weeks ago and has been on the ventilator since then. The intensive care doctor said her condition is not improving and we have to decide whether to remove the ventilator and let her go or put in a tracheostomy. They have done a CT scan of her brain and it shows some mild damage. They said my sister is not responding to commands yet, even though she has been out of the induced coma for a few days now. My sister is 79 years old and has mild dementia. We also had to think about her quality of life with the tracheostomy on. After we thought about the options for a few days, we wanted to give our sister a tracheostomy so that she can have the best chance of recovery. Regarding her quality of life, at least my sister was alert and physically healthy before the seizures and the ICU admission. That's what we hope she will be able to do again with the tracheostomy. I really hope that's the best option for her. Even though we are very happy that we made some decisions, now we still feel we don't know what's yet to come. Therefore, we would really appreciate if you can give some advice and insights on my sister's situation. Regards from Tam. So here's my response. Hi Tam, thank you for clarifying your sister's situation and thank you for your questions. Also, thank you for signing up for my one-on-one phone counseling and consulting service. First, it's nothing unusual for elderly people to take their time when waking up after, when being faced with challenges such as an induced coma, as well as seizures. Seizures fall into the category of head and brain issues, and usually a further delay in waking up can be expected. On top of the drugs being used for an induced coma, there would have been medications given for seizure activities that would have further dampened your sister's brain responses and brain activity. Therefore, your sister needs time to wake up in a time frame that reflects her own needs for her own recovery. The dementia that your sister has been battling certainly doesn't help her situation. However, I do believe that you and your family have done the right decision to let your sister have the tracheostomy and then take everything from there. I also believe that you would have made the right decision if you were opting against the tracheostomy. I would imagine you and your family have made the decision based on what your sister would have wanted if she was able to decide for herself. Therefore, no matter your decision, you have acted in her best interest. With the tracheostomy, your sister is now having the ability to have time for coming off the ventilator, and she will have time to wake up in her own time. Wonder now, where to from here? It really all depends. Tracheostomy and weaning off the ventilator can be a challenge, and it's often hard to put a time frame on it. I have highlighted and explained this in various articles and videos, and you can check out a video, Tracheostomy and Weaning off the Ventilator in Intensive Care. How long can it take? And I put a link to this video and article below this video in the written version of this blog. Furthermore, waking up after an induced coma after seizures can be delayed, and as I have said, I have seen over and over again that injuries to the brain can put a further delay on waking up. Again, I have highlighted and explained this in the following articles and videos. And one of the articles is, and it's an ebook, the 10 answers to the 10 most frequently asked questions when your loved one isn't waking up after an induced coma. And another ebook in regards to this topic is the 10 things you didn't know about severe head or brain injuries, including traumatic brain injury and stroke in intensive care that you must know, especially if your critically ill loved one isn't waking up. Again, I put links to those ebooks in the written version of this blog below this video. People in intensive care, whether families or doctors and nurses, often get time frames wrong, and they mistakenly think that recoveries must happen quickly. Nothing is further from the truth, and if anything, it's quite the opposite. Waking up after an induced coma and waking up after seizures takes time. Therefore, 2 weeks into an intensive care stay probably feels like an eternity for you and your family, and yet it's nothing in the bigger scheme of things. Intensive care and critical illness is often a marathon and not a sprint. If the intensive care team says that your sister's not waking up and that she's not obeying commands yet, it doesn't really mean anything unless given much more time. Time really is irrelevant in intensive care from a patient recovery perspective. You also need to be mindful that time is everything from an intensive care team perspective because of the perception of scarce and limited resources. Because of the intensive care team's perception of scarce and limited resources, intensive care teams can be very negative early on and painting a doom and gloom picture for patients and their families. Again, from my perspective, you have made a good decision by giving your sister the opportunity to have a tracheostomy and give her the best shot at life. Even though the CT scan of her brain is showing mild damage, it doesn't mean much, especially since it's only been one CT scan. They probably have to do another CT scan or MRI scan of the brain, as well as potentially an EEG of the brain, including a neurology consult. It may also depend on issues like if any medication needs to be given longer term to prevent seizures, such as phenytoin or dilantin, or Keppra, and or Epilin, also known as sodium valproate, as they may interact with your sister's dementia as well. Especially when waking up from an induced coma after seizures, it just simply takes time, and it also takes time for the brain to recover and heal. I understand that despite your sister's mild dementia, she was able to live independently before the seizures and the ICU admission. Nobody knows if she can get back to that level of quality of life and level of functionality after her intensive care stay. And again, the tracheostomy will enable your sister to have time to recover and enable your sister to wake up in her own time. Please also keep in mind that if your sister needs much longer to wake up and also needs much longer to get off the ventilator and the tracheostomy than anticipated, you may want to start thinking about alternatives, such as intensive care at home. A home care service like intensive care at home can provide care and treatment for long-term ventilated adults and children with tracheostomies in the home as a genuine alternative to a long-term stay in intensive care. Intensive care at home is also way more patient and family friendly compared to an intensive care stay, and it's also by way more cost effective compared to intensive care stay. Therefore, intensive care at home creates a a win-win situation. I hope this gives you some insights and clarifications about what to expect, and also about what options you might have to look at when making crucial decisions for your sister and your family. And for now, stay positive and hope that your sister will wake up, obeys commands, and also gets off the ventilator and the tracheostomy. Give her time, love, and nurturing for that. She has the best of families around her to enable her to have the best of recoveries. Please let me know if you need to have more questions and challenges answered. I wish you and your family all the best. So, how can you become the best advocate for your critically ill loved one, make informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence quickly whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care? You get to that all-important feeling of making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence when you download your free Instant Impact Report now by entering your email below. In your free Instant Impact Report, you learn quickly how to make informed decisions, get peace of mind, real power and real control, and how you can influence decision making fast whilst your loved one is critically ill in intensive care. Your free Instant Impact Report gives you in-depth insight that you must know whilst your loved one is critically ill or is even dying in intensive care. Sign up and download your free Instant Impact Report now by entering your email below. In your free Instant Impact Report, you learn how to speak the secret intensive care language so that the doctors and the nurses know straight away that you are an insider and that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care. In your free report, you will also discover how to ask the doctors and the nurses the right questions. Discover the many competing interests in intensive care and how your critically ill loved one's treatment may depend on those competing interests. How to eliminate fear, frustration, stress, struggle, and vulnerability even if your loved one is dying. You get 5 mind-blowing tips and strategies helping you to get on the right path to making informed decisions, get peace of mind, control, power, and influence in your situation. You'll get real-world examples that you can easily adapt to your and your critically ill loved one's situation. How to stop being intimidated by the intensive care team and how you will be seen as equals. You'll get crucial behind-the-scenes insight so that you know and understand what's really happening in intensive care, and how you need to manage doctors and nurses in intensive care, and it's not what you think. Thank you for tuning into this week's Your Questions Answered episode, and I'll see you again next week in another update. Make sure you also check out our blog section for more tips and strategies, or simply send me an email to support@intensivecarehotline.com with your questions. Or you can call me, find international phone numbers on our contacts tab. Also, check out our ebook section where you get more ebooks, videos and audio recordings, and where you can also get one-on-one counseling and consulting with me via Skype, over the phone or via email by clicking on the products tab. This is Patrick Hutzel from intensivecarehotline.com, and I'll see you again next week in another update.